desk, unfortunately, on that one. It does look like Ben is holding all the aces in this one. However, something that Scoundrel said in our class, the aggro decks can just sneak wins here and there sometimes. Right. So I'll go for 3-1, but I do heavily favour Ben to win this one as well.
3-1, yeah. See, usually I'd ask, okay, well, which side do you think's going to win? But feels like a bit of a stupid question at the moment. Mysterious has got a lot of fighting to do if he wants any chance to get through to the final game. Probably going to be his 3rd time in the ESL Prem, finishing 3rd place.
He did tech in Spellbreaker, so he's got ways through taunts. Yep. I wonder if there's some little bits of tech in his other decks that we didn't see. If the Druid is playing, say, Bittertide Hydra, maybe even 2 Bittertides to a nod to control, there might be some bits we haven't seen yet. So maybe he's got enough chances against control to make a fight of it, but it does seem unlikely at the moment.
Yep, long way to go. Like you said, Spellbreaker can do stuff, it can get past taunts, but it can't stop healing. And that's one of the biggest problems that Mysterious is going to find against Ben's lineup as we start game number 1. Aggro Shaman versus Paladin.
Genzo
is
sharp thrown away there in the Druid deck, which means he's probably playing Pheno's #1 legend list, give or take. Who made #1 legend that like 2 days ago, I feel. Maybe even yesterday. Time seems to go so quickly when you get to my old age. But yeah, Genzo the Shark is a way of refilling your hand.
Yep.
And so, like I say, a little bit of a nod to the fact you run out of stuff here.
I have to say, pretty solid hand for Mysterious. Not incredible, there's no innovate shenanigans going on here, but Firefly into Flame Elemental, Mark of the Lotus is pretty strong, followed up by Tar Creeper. Looks like his first few turns are pretty much sorted. Yeah,
Ben does have the Pyromancer, so you're talking about the healing. The healing's no good if your opponent's hitting you in the face for 15 every turn.
Yep, and suddenly, Mysterious's start just got better. Blood Cell Cultist, or Corsair, sorry, into Mark of the Lotus, buffs up Patches as well.
And gets everything apart from Patches out of Consecration range, which is the really important thing here. I was going to say that Ben has all of the answers in terms of removing stuff, but now that all got a lot harder.
Yep, Ben picking up Stampeding Kodo, no good till turn 5. Only card he can really play here is Wild Pyromancer. He can play Wild Pyromancer, coin Forbidden Healing to clear Patches.
Yeah, if he wants to take a chance, he can play the Pyromancer and just Forbidden Healing. And that sets up Coin Consecration if the minions don't get buffed again.
I think he's just going to drop the Pyromancer and end his turn. Say to Mysterious, hey, you've got to trade into something or I'm going to equality you. But Mysterious probably not going to complain too much. I imagine, yeah, he just trades Patches in. Big deal.
Yeah, and now Ben is left with no options to remove this board. And the Tar Creeper is just going to shut down the true Silver Champion. And the only saving grace for Ben is there is not much in Mysterious's hand in the way of buffs right now. The downside is he's just got no play.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about how Ben's got the anti-aggro and everything sorted, but it's turn 3. There's already 7 damage on the board. Well, less than that. 5 damage on the board on Mysterious's turn because of the way Tar Creeper works.
Right.
It only has 3 attack on Ben's turn.
And just to point out there, again, I'm not saying if it was right or wrong, but if you had kept back the Pyromancer for 1 turn maybe, or if you'd played the Forbidden Healing last turn for 0, even though it wouldn't have healed him for anything, it would have done 1 damage to all of the minions, and now Consecration would clear up everything apart from the Tar Creeper.
Right, so maybe that was Ben not playing to his potential outs over 2 turns. On the flip side, yeah, he wouldn't have been able to do it with Tar Creeper, as you said. And maybe that's just not high value enough for Consecration. Gonna just heal himself back up to 28, finding the time to play Forbidden Healing while he can. And now, what does Mysterious do this turn?
Well, Mysterious knows there's no way that Ben can clear right now. He may choose to keep this Blood Cell Corsair for a potential true Silver Champion. It's easy for me to say, I can see it. Mysterious has got to weigh up whether he thinks he's giving up damage in relation to protecting his board, and he feels it's well worth protecting this board by not playing the Corsair at this time.
Yeah, I mean, what does Ben do about this? He's going to coin out Stampeding Kodo. It's going to deal with maybe a minion with 2 attack. Yep.
So the upside of the way Ben is playing this means that he has got that Consecration for living mana. I talked about it in the previous match where I was on about the Primordial Drake. This way around, at least Ben, if he can survive this opening onslaught, and so far he's doing okay. If he does survive it, maybe the Spike-Ridge Steed will help him buy some time. He is going to have that Consecration to deal with the all-important living mana later on.
So, the thing for Ben is that, can he push Mysterious into the position where he even needs to play the living mana? Because at the moment, Mysterious is fine. It looks like he's just going to win in a few turns without even needing that card.
Right, and that is always the problem when you are playing a control deck. You've got to balance up, look, I need this consecration later to deal with living mana, but actually, I'm dying now.
Yeah.
I need to kill things right away, and this is the difficulty that Ben is finding himself with.
It doesn't look like Ben really has any options here other than to just play the True Silver Champion and get rid of the Tar Creeper, but then he's leaving all of that damage on the board.
He is, but next turn he could Ivory Knight, hope for a big roll, maybe gets a, I don't know, 8 mana spell. Then he can clear up the board, maybe stabilize on a very low number. He could also, if Mysterious chooses not to deal with the Kodo, then Spite-Ridge Steed will also buy Ben a bit of time. But if any buff comes here from Mysterious, Mysterious is just going to win immediately. None of that will matter.
Yeah. That's not a buff though, that's just a Firefly. Living mana might come down here. I think that's probably what Ben would want to see. Then again, Mysterious just might not feel the need to put more pressure on the board. Why play into Consecration unnecessarily?
Yeah, he can take down the Kodo. This one won't be going face. This one will be taking out the Kodo because that's challenging all 3 minions. And then Mysterious will probably just wait. He'll put the Firefly down because why not? His reload is all living mana.
Yep.
And this is like, can you just deal with this? I've seen that you can't deal with me so far. What's changed?
So Ben needs to pick up an equality right now. That's not going to do it. Doesn't look to me like there's any way he can prevent Mysterious from just outright winning the game next turn. Doesn't need any help from any card in his hand.
And it's not always a sign of a mistake, but dying when you've got Consecration still in your hand sometimes can be indicative, you know, maybe I should have found a time to play that card.
But thinking back, when would he have had the chance to do it? Like, you suggested the turn 2 Pyromancer Forbidden Healing. That would have set up for an okay Consecration, but would it have been game-winning?
Still no lethal, just let's be a little tiny bit careful here, right? It's 1 off lethal, but the double living mana. Would it have been game-winning? I don't know. It would just have fended off the first lot of attacks, maybe given Ben a little time to stabilize and get a Spite-Ridge Steed down.
Ivory Knight doing its work there, as you say, preventing lethal for 1 more turn, but now, not equality either. So Spite-Ridge Steed will put the Ivory Knight on 10 health, plus then Death Rattle summon another minion that has Taunt. So actually, looking at this board as it is now, the Steed does buy Ben an extra turn.
Yeah, and the only point of damage that hasn't gone face in the whole game was killing off that Kodo. Well, that Kodo would have killed a minion, so it would actually be, Ben would be on 2 or 3 if Mysterious hadn't killed that Kodo when he had the chance.
Right. There you go. Spite-Ridge Steed, 6-10.
Mysterious said some words there that I'm sure were in French. And he may not have a swipe in... Oh, don't worry about it, he has.
Oh, off the top swipe. Going to finish up the game for Mysterious. So, we were saying, the analysts were saying, this should be an easy series for Ben with his anti-aggro lineup. But, as you said before, aggro decks can just sneak a win sometimes. And there you go. 1-0 to Mysterious.
Yeah, and Ben has now played 4, lost 4 today. He's got to keep himself composed. He's still the favourite for this. We were saying if it was 1 game for Mysterious, that's probably fairly good for him, even though it's no use in terms of progressing. So Ben still was favoured for 3-0 before. He should still be favoured for 3-0 from this point. But it is his first time on a big stage. He's had decent results at other lands where he's been a part of the land, but not on a stage like this.
Yeah.
And he just needs to make sure he stays a little, stays calm, or he could mess this up, if he has a difficult decision to make to swing the game. Yeah,
I had the chance to speak to Ben briefly in between his last series and this one, and he believes that he played mostly okay despite losing 3-0 the first time round. He believes that he threw the game as the Shaman against the Quest Warrior.
Right.
He thinks that he made a few mistakes there, thinks he could have maybe done more to fatigue the Warrior, but I think he's kept his cool so far.
He's put in a lot of preparation for this tournament, I know that much. He's done a lot of playtesting with Epiphany, one of the players who's, when he's around, everyone's scared of him. He's just not around that often. And I know Ben put in a lot of hours with him over the last week. And so Ben should be very well prepared, even if he is feeling a bit nervous, to still just keep playing against these aggro lineups. They just solely practice what they thought Green Sheep was going to bring. And all Ben's got to do now is pretend he's playing against Green Sheep. The other Green Sheep that didn't turn up today.
Right, the regular Green Sheep that everyone at home would have been expecting.
Yeah, probably including Green Sheep. He probably opened his decks and was like, what, I submitted this?
So just something to call out really quickly there. Ben, knowing that he's against a Pirate Warrior, threw away his quest straight away.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense. One mana card does nothing to prevent you from dying against this aggressive Pirate Warrior deck. He just needs to survive. He doesn't need to think about actually winning the game just yet.
Right, the longer you survive, obviously, if you get rid of all of your opponent's minions and their ways to win, then your hero power plus your taunt just get you out of sight. The difficult part is getting into that position, and like you say, throwing away the quest. I was actually talking to Ben a couple of days ago, and he was asking me, what do you think you do? How many of these matchups do I throw away the quest? And we discussed briefly the possibility that if he wanted to go that route, then he could possibly just not play Quest Warrior at all and just play normal Warrior.
Sure.
Just play Control Warrior. But, you know, I left that to them to decide, but he did ask me for some advice on what he thought, you know, I would do in that situation.
I remember you saying to me earlier that you believed that Ben had you said that Ben had a good shot at winning this, right?
Yeah, I thought he was going to win this. I knew how much work they'd done. I knew what lineups they'd brought. I didn't know anybody else's lineup. I just knew what Ben was up to. And I felt he was going to win this event today. But Green Sheep, as I say, sidestepped all of those issues. Credit to his greater experience than maybe everybody else here.
Gotta be said, though, as the Pirate Warrior, as we bring it back to this game, Mysterious has had another strong start. Spellbreaker is going to be invaluable for him at some point. The only real question that he has to ask himself is, when do I play it? What target is worthy of the Spellbreaker? You can't really use it on Tar Creeper. It's a good taunt, but it's one of the smallest ones in the deck. Maybe Ali Armorsmith is the target.
That's the one I suspect will be the target indeed, saving all that armor and getting through the 7 health that the minion has. And for that reason, Ben knows there's Spellbreaker in this deck.
Yep.
He will take his time. Normally you just slam the Armorsmith here.
Yep.
But he will take his time on this decision because, first of all, the Hatchling actually trades better numbers into what we can see, but secondly, he might be aware that Spellbreaker just loses him again.
Brawl ends up being a much safer play against the Spellbreaker. I believe Mysterious would have been able to put Ben down to 3, if not for that Brawl.
The problem with Brawl is you just pass the turn back to your opponent and he's still got 6 cards in hand. So even though you Brawl, your opponent's going to keep 1 minion on the board, whatever happens, and then he's just going to do this, he's just going to drop a load more stuff. So I feel that maybe Ben should have been trying to get something on the board there.
Okay. Well, now looking at Ben's hand, there's really not much he can do against that Spellbreaker, and Mysterious just has so much damage. He's got Heroic Strike and Upgrade. Spellbreaker and Upgrade being the cards that won him the final game against Duncan yesterday. He's confident in his deck. Ben, he's done what he can to remove these threats from the board, but Mysterious is going to take game number 2 by silencing away that Bloodhoof Brave and smacking Ben in the face for 9.
Sometimes it's just not your day, and Ben has got to try and fight that feeling right now. As I said a minute ago, he was 0-4, now he's 0-5, and he's probably still got a decent chance of winning this match. We were all predicting 3-0 anyway. Well, you guys were anyway.
We thought Ben would win this 3-0, which would have then meant a rematch in the final, Ben versus Green Sheep. If Mysterious wins this, I think the tournament has been blown wide open.
Right.
Anything can happen in the final game. Ben's under a lot of pressure here. You've talked about his sort of lack of on-stage tournament experience. Well, that does get to you. He's on a stream in front of thousands of people. There's a live audience with us now. This room is completely packed full of people. And he just can feel all of these eyes burning on him.
Yeah, so can I. What a terrifying live audience we have right here in front of us as well, guys. Yeah, that's you lot. Okay, anyway, back to the game. I think that Ben is just going to have to make sure he stays cool in front of all those eyes.
Yeah, and look at him. He's got his hands on his forehead there. Just concentrating, thinking, trying to reset. Wants to get his attitude back in a winning position. Wants to feel like a winner, not someone that just lost 5 games of Hearthstone in a row.
Right, and one thing, I mean, don't forget, Ben got to this position today. Before today, he had played 5 matches in this league and won them all.
Right.
So he is a winner. He has been a winner throughout this season. He has done well at lands before where some of the lands are very noisy. He's very good at shutting out all that noise when he plays. So he should be good at getting into his own mindset and doing what he wants. But like you say, it can just shake you up.
So it's one thing having to leave the comfort of your own home and play at lands, but you say, like, Ben's used to that. It's another thing entirely to play on a stage like this as we get into what could be the final game of the series. Mysterious with a very strong Murloc-y start there.
Interesting, he's not interested in playing the Chum down. He wants that Chum to buff the Murloc War Leader, so the War Leader is a lot harder to remove. 3 damage is pretty easy for a mage to do. 4 isn't that hard, but it's really awkward on your mana. It usually takes a whole turn to play a Valet and a Ping. And so by saving the Chum, even though it's not going to be mana efficient on this turn, it's going to make the War Leader much bigger next turn.
Yeah, it's... Except that Mysterious' start was strong, but... This is it. Turn 2, play a 2-1, buff the War Leader. The buff War Leader will become relevant later, but for now, Ben's board just trades perfectly against Mysterious's.
So Mysterious going to probably drop this Stonehill Defender now and see if he can pick up a 5 or a 6, maybe even a 4, just to play on curve. If he can, he'll be back in this. If he doesn't manage to pick up a 4, 5 or 6, I think he might start to fade away in this game.
So he could go for a second Stonehill Defender, but that's no pressure on the board. He's got a Sunkeeper Tarim in hand, so does he even need a second one?
I think we might see him take the second Stonehill Defender here just for something to do next turn. You don't want to play that War Leader down against Mage with no other threats on the board. The Mage will just find a way to take care of it. It's one of your win conditions to a degree. And so both these guys just going to circle for a moment. Ben playing the block, so this time he can just use his Medivh's Valet whenever he wants from this point onwards.
The Stonehill Defender pick worked out perfectly for Mysterious. Like, you called it before. You're absolutely right. The one currently on the board was able to trade away the Arcanologist, and now he gets another pick, and he's going to go with the 7-mana Grime Street Informant there. Not Informant, which one? Protector. Grime Street Protector, that's the one.
Okay, Ben just going to go through the motions, killing these off. Still got a decent looking board, and honestly, it looks like he's managing to stabilize pretty well here. Not just because of his board, but looking at this hand, you've got the Flame Strike, you've got another Valet, you've got a Potion, you've got an Ooze, everything's covered, and he's just going to draw more and more defensive measures from this point on.
On the flip side, Mysterious has actually got Murloc War Leader and Bluegill Warrior now. He could drop both if he wanted to. Just trade the Bluegill Warrior into Medivh's Valet, and he's still got a 4/4 Murloc War Leader sitting there. Oh, forget trading. He's just going to go hit Ben in the face several times. Frostbolt or Medivh's Valet plus Ping will deal with the War Leader, but that takes up Ben's whole turn.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like this one because Mysterious was watching backstage when Ben played Green Sheep, and he will have seen that Ben is playing double Volcanic Potion.
Yep.
Ben did show them both. It was something we actually picked up on watching in the crowd, where Ben could have conceded the first game and played like 4 extra turns and gave away quite a lot of information about how defensive his build was. And so Mysterious there maybe could have played around that a little bit.
Well, Mysterious has made his game plan today, I think, quite clear. He wants to hit the face over and over again until his opponent is dead. And
it's a bit dark.
It is dark. Hearthstone's a dark game sometimes, Neil.
Darkstone. Okay, Mysterious just repopulating this board though, going to keep challenging. Not trying to be greedy with this Megasaur, just making sure he gets a little bit from the Megasaur. It's still decent 5/4/4. He gets buff up with Chum, fair enough.
It was decent, but Ben's response even more decent as the second Volcanic Potion plus Medivh's Valet deals with everything. And we're getting into the position where Ben is going to be able to stabilize soon. Put himself in a great position. Now he can Flame Strike, he can Firelands Portal. Soon he'll pick up probably a Medivh the Guardian.
Right.
And just create this huge board that Mysterious may not be able to deal with.
Yeah, Mysterious having a bit of a nothing turn here just to make sure his curve works out in the future. The Tarim had no targets, the Protector had no targets, and so the Mighty Street had no targets. So to solve those problems, he's going to make some targets. He's going to put 2 things on the board, and the Redemption just makes sure that those 3 things in his hand actually have something to do next turn.
Right, so Ben's actually, considering it's turn 7, he doesn't have that many options here. I don't mind just Firelands Portaling something. I don't know whether you go the face.
That's the big question. Do you want to save this Firelands Portal for later, or do you want to use it now and generate a board state that can actually deal with what your opponent does? Ben must be terrified of Tyrion right now. He's just seen Mysterious have an awful turn 7, which usually means that there's an 8 drop in their hand. As it happens, we can see the exceptional circumstances as to why not. But Ben is going to be thinking very hard about Tyrion, and that might just put him off playing this portal, but no, he wants to get stuff.
It looked like he considered the Flame Strike for a second there.
Right.
The thing is about Tyrion is that if it were to come down now, Ben would just be able to ping, trade into it, and then play the Gluttonous Ooze to get rid of the Ashbringer. So I think this play is absolutely fine, even if there is a Tyrion. Mysterious, though, now has, well, a few options. He can play Spike with Steed here. He can play Sunkeeper Tarim and just make some nice trades. Gonna just go with the Steed for now.
And this is a function of him picking that Repentance last turn. Not a secret you normally play around. You expect it to be Noble Sacrifice, Getaway Kodo. But Repentance is very good in this situation where you're desperate for a minion to stick to the board because your hand is full of these sort of cards.
Spike with Steed does make Mysterious's board very sticky. It's difficult for Ben. In fact, I don't think it's possible for Ben to now clear this whole board.
It doesn't look likely. It looks like he's just going to go and take this time to develop some of the weaker secrets of the deck. The Ice Barrier, which advises you another turn later, and just tidy up the board. Harrison facing up against a 2-6 is actually fairly good, except the 2-6 is going to have Divine Shield in a minute.
Yep, it's going to have Divine Shield. It might have +4/+4. And even without, like, the 2-6 trades nicely against Harrison. It still lives. I do like the Divine Shield here, though.
Yeah, this just defends the 2-6 from the ping, and then you can go ahead and put Blessing of Kings on. You're also scared of Polymorph if you're Mysterious here, so you don't want to put too much on any one thing. Try and spread it out, but Ben is still in an okay spot, to be fair.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable numbers for him to have to deal with right now. He's got the Flame Strike, which deals 4 damage to all minions, which actually doesn't clear anything. Flame Strike plus ping can get rid of the 1/1, but would leave both of the other minions on the board with 2 health remaining. He's going to look at doing Mana Worm plus Frostbolt there, reducing the health of the Grind Street Protector and freezing it.
Right, the freeze, as you say there, a very important part of that deal, because now the Mana Worm can't be killed by any one of these minions, which means it's going to get a lot of damage in. If Mysterious chooses to kill this Mana Worm, he's basically giving the Mana Worm Wind Fury.
Yeah, but he's setting up for a very juicy Flame Strike as well next turn.
Yeah.
If the Mana Worm trades have to happen, then Flame Strike will just get rid of everything. Mysterious, though. 2 Blessing of Kings now if he wants to play them.
Yeah, and he does want to play them. It's just a case of where do you want to put them? Do you want to put them on your Divine Shield? Do you want to play the Wicker Flame and put them on there? Do you want to play Tarim first, turn everything into 3/3s and then buff your guys? Or do you want to just stick it all on the biggest available thing and hope there's no Polymorph?
I don't think I mind putting the other one on the 1/1 right now. He's playing around Meteor because the smaller minion's in the middle. Plus the 1/1's got Divine Shield anyway, so it's very hard for, like, Ben would have to Meteor and ping it. Mysterious actually just going to go a little bit wider though, putting down Wicker Flame.
Right, Mysterious getting that information. Even though he's giving away the 8 armor, he now knows exactly what this is if he didn't already from watching earlier.
Was there any chance that that was a Vaporize for Mysterious? Did he have to play around that, do you think?
I think you might as well attack. I mean, you can't kill them with the Paladin by just waiting, and you want to get this Blessing of Kings maybe on your Wicker Flame so you can gain some health later, or maybe you just want to keep it for surprise value after you tar him. There's no need for him to be all in. This is a big enough board to force the Flame Strike already.
And Flame Strike certainly doing a lot of work there as Mysterious still got that second Blessing of Kings in hand. Now maybe he goes wide, maybe he puts this on the 1/1, puts 11 damage into Ben's face. Or maybe he plays Sunkeeper Tarim, like attacks with the Segadon first, and then turns his entire board into 3/3s.
Yeah, that's an option. It boosts the total of his board, though, by only 1, but it does mean he gets an extra 4 damage in this turn. But yeah, he's setting up for next turn, which means he'll Blessing now, probably. Although a second Flame Strike would wipe everything out.
Tough call, because if he's planning on playing Tarim next turn, then maybe the Flame Strike... Maybe it was worth considering not playing Blessing of Kings, because Tarim would now nerf that 5/5, but I think he's just going with as powerful a board as he can right now, dealing as much damage as he can, as quickly as possible. Does seem to be Mysterious's game plan all day.
Yeah, Ben playing down the Sorcerer's Apprentice in case he has to do multiple things this turn. He knows he's doing 2 things. She costs 2, so she's already paid for herself in the 2 saved mana, and maybe you'll get some bonus mana as well. Plus you get to develop the board. Difficult choice here, but Ben's just going to have to use these to clear up the board.
Yeah, could have gone with the Frostbolt there to freeze the minion or to get rid of the Staggadon. Goes for Fireball to get rid of the 5/5. Pings away a 1/1. And now this board is ripe for Sunkeeper Tarim. Let's see what Mysterious picks up. Curator might be more tempting, though.
Yeah, I'm looking at Ben's last turn, actually. He must have a decent read that it's Tarim. I think he realises that Tyrion would have been played by now.
Yep.
Because it would have made more sense just to play Acolyte of Pain.
Okay.
So I'm going to give Ben the benefit of the doubt and say the benefit of the doubt. And say that...
Ben, if it...
Right.
Oh, this audience is useless. Come on.
I know, we can't get them going at all. Play the Acolyte of Pain would have allowed basically either the 6-3 to trade into it, which is fine, it prevents 6 damage and draws a card, or it would be up against all these little one-attack minions.
Okay, well, Bluegill Warrior could do nice work of getting rid of that Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody likes leaving up Sorcerer's Apprentices or Sorcerer's Apprenti, or whatever they're called.
Apprenti?
I don't even know anymore. Because that could be 14 mana sitting in Ben's next turn. So you do have to get rid of it most of the time. This still sets up next turn lethal.
Ooh, Ben gonna try and set up a lethal of his own with the pickup of the Alexstrasza there. He's got an ice block up, so he's safe.
Right, so how this works, if Ben picks up a Fireball next turn, he can Fireball face and put Mysterious down to 9, and then play the ice block, ping face, put them down to 8, and then the turn after he can Pyroblast face because he's protected by that ice block and win the game. This, of course, all relies around the fact he's got to pick up burn for at least 1 turn and maybe 2 in a row, depending what he picks up.
It also relies on Mysterious not having any healing, and unfortunately for Ben, True Silver Champion, when it hits, it heals you for 2.
2's okay if he only does it once. If he heals it for 2 twice, then it's not okay. So Mysterious actually needs to get out there and attack with this just to get to 17 right away.
Well, now it gets really sticky for Ben, because if he picks up the Fireball, he won't have the mana to play Fireball, Ice Block, Ping, and Gluttonous Ooze.
Right.
So actually, the True Silver Champion coming down right now was perfect for Mysterious. It messes up Ben's potential win condition. He gets Firelance Portal, and that's not even as good as the Fireball.
Right, so can Ben do anything at all here? If he portals and pings faces, I know he dies, but that would be a maximum of 6 damage anyway, and then Pyroblast would still only go to 16, even though he'd actually be dead, so that's not even that useful, oddly enough.
Right.
So obviously he has to play the ice block. He should probably play that now because it's 100% of the time he does this.
Yep.
I guess if he's going for Acolyte Ping into a Frost Nova or a Blizzard, Blizzard wouldn't have enough mana.
Oh, Frost Nova would be good from the Acolyte, actually. Oh, would it Frost Nova plus Ooze?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not worked out. This play from Ben, he played the Ooze, but the armor doesn't matter because Mysterious is always still going to have the damage that he needs to get past this ice block. Ben is just, looks like he's just waiting to be eliminated now.
Yeah, not much he can do about this right now. A glyph into a second ice block. I'm clutching at straws now. Is the reason you don't give up.
That buys you 1 turn.
Then you get a glyph into a Cabalis's Tome, into a Frost Nova, into an ice block, and another damage spell, and another...
That's quite a stretch, Neil.
It's more than quite a stretch. It's almost impossible.
That's the Fireball you needed a few turns ago. You know what? When there's a stretch that long, do you know what I just think? Yogg-Saron. That could be the card that could take Ben the game.
Yogg-Saron required. Could be in there.
I'm on fire.
Ben shaking his head now. He knows this is all over. Arcanologist can pick him up an Ice Barrier, maybe, if he still has 1 in the deck, but both Ice Blocks are gone.
Are there any 5-mana taunts that are like 0-100?
No.
Then he's in trouble.
Earth Elemental has 8 health.
Well played.
Ben gonna finish himself off with a Firelance Portal in this shocking turn of events. The aggro lineup has defeated the anti-aggro lineup as Mysterious qualifies to the finals.
And I think you said at the start, usually when it's 3-0 or 3-1, I would ask you who to. Well, you should have done. I'd have said Mysterious. I wouldn't.
Right, well, the analyst was saying it on the analyst desk. We were saying it here. It's crazy to think that Mysterious even has a chance to win this. It's going to be a 3-0. It's going to be a 3-1. Well, we just got told.
He's got to beat Green Sheep twice with this lineup, but he could. Green Sheep's brought a very different lineup to normal.